Good morning, and welcome to Caffeinate Your Career.
Woo!
Today's topic is the hidden reason behind job interviews. I'm your host, the career coach with the most, Jason Hopper. With me today is the sensational Senior Director of Career and Financial Services, Jill Tokumoto.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Jill, welcome to Caffeinate Your Career.
Thanks.
It's been a minute since you've been on the podcast.
It has been a minute.
What's up with that?
Well, the whole camera thing makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, but you do so well.
You're sweet. Thank you.
I'm
happy to be here.
All right, I'm looking to see if we are live, and looks like we are. And there are two people currently watching live. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. I will try to monitor that as we move through the episode. So, the official reason for a interview is for the client or the employer, to assess whether the candidate is qualified and a good fit for the role.
Absolutely.
Right? But the hidden or less talked about reasons for the interview and the purpose for it go a little bit deeper. Jill, what is one hidden reason for the interview?
I think one would be like the cultural fit, right? So your resume, all of those good things on paper, it's more than just the skills that you bring, right? So interviewers are evaluating different things like, are you going to get along with our team? Right. So hopefully the team is there, they're part of the interview process, and they're kind of sizing you up thinking, hey, are you going to be a good fit for our team, or is there something kind of quirky that might throw our team off its game? And so they're really looking at all of those different types of things.
I think it's important that the team be involved in the interview process.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we want to you can be working with this person 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, depending on what job you have. And so you want to make sure that they're going to be liked.
Right.
You mentioned like personality traits a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I almost did not get hired on here.
Why?
They thought I was too energetic.
Okay, well, I can attest to that.
they're like, look, I remember I was talking to Marlene, and she goes, "You have a lot of energy." And I'm like
every day, all day long,
I'm like,
Jason.
Yeah, I guess. And she goes, "Most of the team's very laid back. I think I'm probably the most energetic." And I'm like, "Oh. Okay." Like, I don't know how to answer that. There's also there's another reason I almost did not get hired on here because I had to interview with our CEO, Kathy Barker.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into that today because Kathy's going to be on the Caffeinate Your Career here in a few weeks, and we're going to talk about it then. It's a funny story, though. I've told it before. I think like too, as far as like culture goes, they want to make sure that you're going to be able to adapt to the team.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I think a lot of times people will get into interviews and it's like, well, at my old job, and then, at my old job we did this, and at my old job we did that. It's like, okay, well, that's not how we do things here. Right? Because here, this is the way that we do things. And if you're stuck in your old ways and you're not going to be able to adapt, by the way, adaptability should be one of your STAR stories. STAR is an acronym. If y'all don't know, it stands for situation, task, action, and result. And adaptability should be a story. These are stories on how you solve problems.
Yep.
And that should be one of them, for sure. Jill, I think another reason, a hidden purpose in the job interview is they want to know if you can perform under pressure.
Right. Thinking on your feet.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes not hesitating because you need to have some kind of resolution, solution, results. So thinking on your feet, I think, is important. Um, I think I told you the other day I love this show, Last Call.
Yes.
It's on like at 10:30 at night or something, and they so it's the host, and he typically has three guests, and they're from all different career paths. And what he did was he said that a lot of companies are now starting to do like random questions. So he had a list of 5 questions, and he had each guest pick a number. And so I'd say, okay, Jason, pick a number between 1 and 5. And you'd say 3.
Okay.
And he'd ask the question for number 3. And it was just all over the board, maybe not even specifically work related, but it was to test how you thought on your feet. Could you solve a problem?
Yeah.
How did you respond under pressure, right? And all of those things that contribute to the position. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think a different way to interview. I think it's always important to remember that they know you can do the job.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they've got your resume in front of them. They understand that you have the skill to do the job. It's like, are you going to make it here? Right? Yeah. I said a second ago, like, can you perform under pressure? And I thought, like, about a week or two ago, I posted on LinkedIn. It was a meme, and and there were otters for some reason in the interview, and it says Steve's asked in the interview if he can perform under pressure. He's not sure he knows all the words to the song, but he's willing to give it a try.
That's a good one. Right? Yes.
Yeah, it's like a controlled stress test, right?
Yes.
Because like you should have those questions practiced. Like, what is your greatest strength? What is your greatest weakness? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Uh-huh.
Or, but when they throw you a curveball, like, how many basketballs can fit on a bus? Or, how many pennies do you need to stack to get to the top of the Empire State Building? Mm-hmm. Like these kind of crazy and off-the-ball questions, they are designed to throw you off, but that's what they're looking for is, can you adjust and ask or come up with a creative solution?
Right. Problem solving,
right.
I think, too, Jason, it's humor, right? I mean, they're trying to throw you off. They're trying to see, do you have a sense of humor? Like, are you thinking, this is so serious? Sometimes I think it kind of lessens the tension when you can laugh, you can maybe joke or throw in some kind of anecdote, and then it shows your personality.
I would say, yes, that's important. It's because, like, how you act in the interview and your personality. And I do think it's always a good idea to show up as your true self versus this idealized candidate you think they want. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget, I was working for the state, and there was somebody that worked near me that was not very good at the job. Mm-hmm. And so I went down to my supervisor's office, and I was like, why did you hire this person?
Right.
And she said, the person that's sitting on the floor is not the same person that came in to interview. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you get in there, you talk a good game, but if you aren't yourself, and then you show up as yourself at work, and it's like, it could be like that disaster, right?
So when I was a principal, so I have 25 years in education, and I was an elementary school principal, and we would always have the grade level team be a part of the interview, and then we would set it up, and typically it was during the summer when we were hiring, and I would say to the team, all right, take the candidate out for lunch. And they'd be like, okay, are you paying? It's like, yes, I'm paying.
Yeah.
And they take the candidate out to lunch, and then it's a relaxed environment. They can all talk, and you get a good sense when people, let their guard down, and then they're themselves. Yes. And it's like a different person from that formal interview setting to a relaxed setting, and you get a good idea. And it's like, will that person be a good fit for our team?
I think that that's important. When we were in the interview process earlier this year,
Yes.
um, we did have a candidate that I did not like in the middle of the interview.
Oh, okay.
She was not really answering the questions that we were asking. She was mostly just kind of talking around them. So then we end the interview's pretty much over.
Right.
Right. She didn't close. But the interview's over, and now we're just kind of hanging out and talking.
Right.
And that's when I liked her.
Oh, okay.
During the interview, she was, again, guys, let me tell you right now. When you are in the interview, you have to answer the question that the interviewer asks. Do not talk around it. Do not go and, try to embellish or come up with some other type of story. You have to answer the question. If you don't answer the question, the recruiter will get annoyed with you. And if it's the hiring manager that's annoyed with you, forget it. You're done.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to answer the question. She wasn't answering the questions. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of annoyed in the middle of the interview.
Right.
I actually probably wrote down, does not answer the questions. But then when we talked to her, I liked her a lot.
So what do you think outweighs something when you make the decision? Like how she performed in the actual interview, or that you liked her afterwards? What trumps it?
I would say you can probably overlook some of the missteps in the interview, because I get it. Like, people interview, they get nervous,
sure,
right? And then like the interview's over, and it's just like, and she was like more herself. Right. So I can overlook some of that stuff. But like when we hired Rhonda, Rhonda, are you watching right now? It was about you, girl.
She probably is.
So when we hired Rhonda, one of the reasons I liked Rhonda, like through all the process,
right,
is she was positive. She had good energy.
Yep.
She answered all the questions that I asked her, and she was I finished with Rhonda. I'm like, she's the one.
Yeah.
I told you, because you were going to you interviewed her after.
Right.
Me and Brenda did,
yep.
And I told you, hey, if you like her, don't even come back to me. I've signed off on it. I want her on the team. And you're like, all right. And then,
and she's worked out really well.
Yeah, she has. There's Rhonda. Rhonda popped in the chat.
We love you, Rhonda.
Rhonda, you're really come up a lot in the podcast, but because your story is it's a good story.
Yeah.
Overall. So maybe we'll get you on to tell that story in the future. Another not talked about and hidden reason for the interview is that risk assessment. Because especially today, it is for sure an employer's market out there.
Yes.
And there are more people looking for jobs than there are actual jobs at this moment. So employers are talking to people, and they are making certain that they are hiring the right type of people.
Exactly.
And because of that, they're looking for red flags. Oftentimes, too, hiring managers, recruiters, they're looking for reasons to bring you on, not the opposite. They don't want to have to start the process over again.
Right.
Hiring managers don't particularly want to. Hiring managers don't particularly like to take time out of their day to interview somebody or two people or how many people they're going to interview, and they want to make sure that they're getting the right person for the job. Because when those red flags come up, right.
And I think it just kind of depends on the position as well, right?
Yeah.
So your energy in a situation maybe where you're in cubicles and it's quiet and you bring in your powerful energy, might not, that could be a red flag, right? depending on the job.
Sure.
So obviously you're going to know the job before you apply, before you step in. But I think showing up again as your authentic self, sometimes candidates can come off as arrogant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe unintentionally, and then it comes up again, and then again in another question or another interaction, and ooh, huge red flag.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, you don't do everything. The team does. You can talk about how you are a contributor to work, but it's the team that creates the actual work, right? I was just talking to somebody who they'd interviewed a guy, and they sat him down, and they're like, "Hey, should I get coffee or water?" And the candidate goes, "I would like a sparkling water, please." And they're like, well, we don't have that.
Yeah, we have tap water.
I prefer to drink sparkling water. Like, well, that's a red flag. We don't need to talk very much longer to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. He was like fixated on the sparkling. Why don't you have sparkling water here? I think every place else I went to interview has sparkling water, and you don't have sparkling. Like,
gosh. And those are the things that the interviewers talk about afterwards.
The red flags,
like, wow, I think too, people can come off a little bit flaky.
Yeah.
And wishy-washy, and just, and you can pick up on that.
I think like if you're late, or you got the time wrong, or something else happened, or I was talking to a client recently, and he was going to go interview, and this is the final interview with the hiring manager.
Right.
But the hiring manager didn't set it up like the recruiter did.
Okay.
And they set it up on like Teams, but he was told by the hiring manager it was going to be in person.
Oh.
And so the time came, and he didn't know what to do, so he just called, and he goes, am I supposed to be there to see you because I have this thing for Teams? And he goes, yeah, I do too. He goes, so let's reschedule.
Right.
Because the admin set it up, and so the manager knew, because he had that same notification instead of them being in person. So, I mean, that worked out. But like, if you don't have, or like, if you don't have everything together.
Yes.
I'm just like, okay, well, like, that's kind of flaky.
Exactly. And you think, wow, this interview is really important. This is your first impression, setting the tone, and you show up and you're just a flailing mess. What is it going to be like when you show up on day one for work? So, red flag.
You won't be showing up for work.
Exactly.
I think storytelling is super important in the interview process.
Yes.
And it's it's a hidden thing that they don't really talk about a lot, but I say all the time, the candidates that tell the best stories are the ones that are winning in the interview.
Yes.
Right?
Especially,
and this is where I work with clients, is I work with them with trying to create those success stories that also evoke the emotion.
Right.
Because once you get that emotional bit, you've got them. Right? And so whenever I have a new client, the first thing I do is I give them my background. It's only fair. They should know who they're talking to.
Absolutely.
And then I stop and I say, okay, so that is, in a nutshell, my career history. You go, tell me your story. And every single time. And the reason I do it is I want to see, can they tell me their story succinctly? Or is it going to be, well, back in college, I worked at the pizza shop. I'm like,
or I grew up in,
yeah.
Like, Yeah.
I was born. That's not.
Yes.
And I sit and politely listen and be like, okay, so let me explain the formula for you for this question.
Yes.
And kind of get them, well, and this is one of the things we work on it, but I'm like, okay. And because a lot of recruiters and their hiring managers are going to ask that question. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Exactly.
And you need to know how to answer the question.
Right.
By the way, guys, the formula for that is your past, what you learned, and why you're excited about this new opportunity that you're talking to the recruiter about. That's the formula for that particular question. And if you don't know how to answer that question or create the story for that question, I am taking new clients. Hit me up.
All right, I am too.
Jill's looking for new clients as well. We've been busy lately.
We have been. We've been very busy.
My days.
But I think too, Jason, it's part of your communication skills, right?
Yeah.
Especially you're engaging with other people, even just your teammates. But if you have clients and if you can't communicate clearly, that's a problem. And so that basic, tell me about yourself. If you're stumbling and you can't, succinctly share about yourself when you know yourself the best, that's again a red flag.
But a part of that, along with just telling the story of yourself, because I think the idea behind that is on the job seeker side is it's my story. Mm-hmm. I know it. I'm good with telling it.
Yes.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah. In fact, I was doing a presentation recently, and we were talking about telling stories in interviews, and I was like, most of y'all aren't good at interviewing because you're not good at telling your story, right?
Yeah.
I think the one misstep I constantly see is that job seekers make is they don't put in enough practice to tell their story in interviewing, right? Mm-hmm. I think that oftentimes the interview itself is like a test that you have most of the answers to, right? Yes. You don't know everything that you're going to ask. Mm-hmm. You can't. Right. But you do know they may ask, tell me a little bit about yourself. Or, what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Yes. Tell me about a time that you failed. What did you learn? Exactly. Tell me about a time when you had a difficult customer. How did you resolve that problem? Yeah. Like some of the things that they could be asking. By the way, speaking of that question, tell me about a time you had a difficult customer. How did you solve the problem? Is asked by Scott Butnick every single time he does a practice interview.
Right.
So, if y'all didn't know, we have a virtual interview practice program called VIP Squared. Scott is on that team. I've got actually 7 people on my team right now. They are all hiring professionals, volunteering their time to help you improve your interview skills. Again, the one misstep everybody makes, I see, they don't put in enough practice. So you need to practice. What will happen is you will log on. I will put you and the interviewer into a breakout room. They will interview you for 30 minutes. Then there will be 15 minutes of feedback, and then you are done. You can log off. Your part is done. The interviewer will send me a feedback form that I will then send to you by the end of the week. So you will have something tangible in your hand to look at and notes that you might want to improve upon when you do your interviews. Okay? Interviewing is a skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. I have, again, 7 different people you can practice with. That you're like, oh my gosh, Jason, that sounds amazing. How do I do that? Email me. My email is the letter J, Hopper, HOPPER, at jfsdallas.org. We do them every Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Central Time. And put practice interview in the subject line. I need a copy of your resume, obviously, and also, too, what do you want to interview for? What job title do you want to interview for? Because we want to make this as real as possible. And what I do is I take that job title and I run it and have Chat GPT list out interview questions. The interviewer will ask you questions based on whatever job title you tell me you want to interview for. So jhopper@jfsdallas.org. I am all full up today. I do have 4 spots next week, and I expect them to go fast. Email me, first come, first serve, and I will get you on the list. That's the commercial for today.
So I think, Jason, that whole preparation, I mean, I've been on a lot of interviews. My husband and I moved every 4 years, so I always had to find a new job. And I would do the same. Well, we didn't have Chat GPT back then, but I would Google interview questions and I would practice. I'd write out my response. I'd look in the mirror and I would practice.
Yeah.
And the more I practiced, the better I got.
Sure.
The more job offers I got, So people think, I'll just go in and, I don't know the question, so I'll wing it.
Oh, wait, there's no winging it.
There is no winging it.
No.
Because they can tell you're winging it.
Yeah, and again, you're not prepared.
Yes.
Or you're not telling the story right.
Yes.
I was thinking, like I had a client, and we worked on all the stories. Like, I helped this person, like, I timed them out. We were, and then they went to the interview and completely told different stories that we hadn't practiced in the interview. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? It's like and I say all the time, I'll be like, so is there a particular actress that you just love?
Right.
Right? It's like, and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, do you like Julia Roberts? Because she's America's sweetheart. I love Julia Roberts. It's like, okay, great. You're Julia Roberts.
Right. Yeah.
Julia Roberts doesn't show up to work.
Yeah. Practice your lines.
And just like, she can't say whatever she wants. No, Julia Roberts shows up and she has to say exactly what the scriptwriter wrote.
Right.
Every single time.
Yep.
She can't change it. It's like that. The director's there to make sure that she's doing it the way that he or she wants it done in the scene. So when I work with clients, I'm like, you're Julia Roberts. We're gonna write your story. I'm the director. Mm-hmm. You're gonna do it exactly the same every single time.
I think too, it helps with nerves, right? If you're prepared
right.
and you've practiced, then when you show up, it's just second nature. And even if the question isn't exactly what you practice, for the most part, you can relate your responses. Right?
You should be able to.
Yeah.
And or if you get thrown a curveball question like, how many clowns
can fit in a car?
A lot of them, apparently. I've been to the circus.
Me too.
Rhonda says she's also taking new clients. So if you're in the chat, Rhonda is taking new clients. And Nita Daly says, thank you, Nita. She said, Jason is the best. Thanks for the good advice. This is one of the toughest job markets I've ever seen. It is super tough. It is a lot of very hard
out there.
Oh my gosh.
So be prepared.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared and practice for sure.
Absolutely.
Another hidden reason for the interview is validation on the resume. Is this person as good on paper as they appear to be in person?
Right. I have seen lots of resumes where you're thinking, this is way too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is.
Yeah, because, getting into that situation. And I think, for the most part, everybody's the same on paper. Right? I mean, barring 1 to 2 few years of experience.
Right.
And or experience in a specific software.
Yes.
On paper, everybody's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
That's why what the recruiter's job is to see if they have the qualifications. I can see it on the resume, but how are they going to present?
Yeah.
Right. And it's the job seeker's job to make sure that they are they're moving through the process. We talk about being your true self, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their job is to get to the next level, get to the next round.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's going to do that, and this is, I think, a good idea to create content on LinkedIn. It's extra marketing. The recruiter, the hiring manager, they're going to look at your LinkedIn. They absolutely will be looking at your LinkedIn.
Yes.
100%. So if it's you and maybe one other person that's going to be considered to move on to the next round, and you have content in your featured section on why you're the expert in the field and your competition has nothing, you're winning. Right? Same thing. I think it's a good idea to have an electronic portfolio that you can put onto your resume.
Yeah.
Link it up.
Right.
So that they can go and look at how great you are. Yeah. And guys, when I say an electronic portfolio, when I say portfolio, really most of the time what I get back is, but I don't draw and I'm not a graphic guy. That's not what I'm talking about. Again, I'm talking about what is put in there a project that you created. Mm-hmm. Put in there a process that you have improved. Put in there your client and or manager testimonials. Why you rock at what you do, right? Those are the kinds of things you want to put in there that it's just extra marketing.
Yes. Don't put in your evaluation. I had that question. Well, I had a really good evaluation. Yeah, not maybe snippets of it, testimonials, but not your whole evaluation.
I think reference checks is something that should just completely go away.
Interesting. Tell me more.
I think in today's digital and modern age, it does not make sense. And you should have at least 3 people in your life that could say something nice about you. Calling HR today, if that's the case, if we call human resources and if I called up Ashley and I wanted to talk to her about Jill, there's only a few pieces of information that she can give me. Right? Yes, she worked here from this date to this date. Yes, that was her title. And they used to be able to ask, are they rehirable?
Right.
That they can't ask that anymore. So the only time we're getting into any kind of a troubled area is if you're like, oh, I was there for 5 years. No, you weren't. You were there for 3. That's a big problem. Right? Mm-hmm. I think recommendations on LinkedIn will carry just as much weight if you have somebody that has said something nice about you. However, again, this is a problem because the recommendations, they're at the very bottom of your profile. Right? And so, it's 8 people say, you're a great career coach. Mm-hmm. Cool. But that's just their opinion. Yeah. This is, again, we talk about the hidden reason for, I got very excited. I came up out of my chair about the hidden reason for the job, for the interview, right? It's, are you going to be the fit? Right? And so we talk about validating the skill that you have, but can you actually do it? Can you show up and tell me succinctly how you solve problems? Because that's what I want. I want if I'm hiring, I want for you to show up and tell me how you can move me forward and my department forward. Right? Mm-hmm. And I think reference checks, yeah, cool, fine. But
okay, maybe I'm old school.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think, if it depends on who your references are, right? So if I was applying for a leadership position and it was my supervisor, a peer, and someone who reported to me, right? And now obviously they don't report to me anymore, they don't work with me anymore, they don't supervise me anymore. Potentially their comments would be pretty true.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, she's the greatest thing now. And I think, too, it depends on the questions that are being asked. Right? Has there ever been a time when you had a negative interaction with Jill? What was the situation and what was the outcome?
Every day.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, probably. I said quietly under my breath every day.
Jason.
Jill.
But so I think that can give you a lot of good information.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like people who have worked closely with you have an opinion, but a valid one because they have worked closely with you, supervised you, been a peer, reported to you. So I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Also, too, it's the time thing, right? Because I gave when I interviewed, I gave Allison 3 references.
Okay.
She talked to Greg Williams.
Yeah.
Greg, of course, is going to talk
raved about you.
Greg,
yes.
he asked her. He goes, "Have you seen him present yet?" And she's like, "No." He goes, "Oh, just you wait. He's the best, right?" Like,
right.
And she couldn't get a hold of somebody, and she's like, I need more people." I'm like, okay, so let me find somebody else. Now I'm trying to scramble to find somebody else that's going to give me a reference and not.
Yeah.
And, it just is a thing that delays the process. I think, ultimately, going with your gut is the thing that's going to make the best.
Oh, Jason, I have hired so many people, and sometimes on that rare occasion, my gut's wrong. And I can admit that. And it hasn't been pretty. And then I think to myself, it's more time that now I have to spend because I made a wrong decision or a poor decision.
Because you didn't go with your gut, or you did go with your gut? Like the true, yeah. Like the true, because anytime I don't do anything, my gut's like, yeah, don't do that, and I do it anyway, it always turns out to be a disaster.
Yeah. Different situations, but I don't know. I feel like spending the time up front, okay, maybe it takes a little bit longer for me to give you the job offer because I need another reference. I need to check. And I did this all the time for teachers, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like I had to do my due diligence.
I mean, if we're just checking a box, if we're just pencil whipping it anyway, go with your gut.
Yeah.
We're not
Again,
gonna,
I'm old school. We're not going to agree.
We're not going to agree on this one.
It's okay.
And that's fine too. We don't have to agree. But so we're at time. I want to just real quick. I love Rhonda. Rhonda commented. Rhonda said, "I'm Cher."
She's Cher.
Yeah, because Rhonda and I had this conversation, and in fact, we were invited to do a job fair.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to people about their resumes, last minute, Friday afternoon, and it was the next day. It was Saturday.
Right.
And I asked Rhonda, and I was like, never mind. It's like, who do you think I am? I'm an afterthought. And I told Rhonda, I was like, you're Cher, and I'm Gary Vaynerchuk. We don't just show up at the last minute.
That's right.
And then Jeffrey said, I will need to go back to the drawing board now. I don't know what you mean by that, Jeff, but I do know you're on the schedule for today for practice interview, so I will see you at 1. And also you have my email if you want to email me to clarify what that actually means. I'm more than happy to answer that email. Jill, fun question for the day.
Oh boy, okay, I'm ready.
It's the zombie apocalypse.
Oh boy. All right.
What's your first move? What are you going to do first when the zombie apocalypse hits?
Hide.
Hide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't want them to eat me.
Well, what if they find you? You need to think about this question a little bit more seriously.
I've never watched those zombie movies, Jason, for that reason.
Zombie apocalypse will be happening one day.
Okay, what would you do first?
I'm going to get a big truck.
Okay.
Right? Like an Amazon truck or a UPS truck, and I'm going to go to the sporting goods store and get all the treadmills that I can find. And then I'm going to put the treadmills in front of my windows and my door. Because now they'll just be walking. They can't walk forward to it. They're just walking on the treadmill.
Will there be electricity though for you to plug those in?
I'll have a generator. I'll get one of those too.
Okay, I'm going to give it some thought. I'll get back to you.
Yes, let me know. Also, if y'all are watching, because we do have like 6 people watching live, tell me what you would do in the case of a zombie apocalypse. I want to know. Next week, Jill, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I appreciate it. Me. It was always fun.
Yes.
And you are a treasure.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that.
Next week, Scott Butnick will be back, and we'll be talking about how to build job search resilience. Because, and we just talked about this, it is super hard out there right now in the job market, and you need to be resilient. So Scott and I will be talking about that next week. In the meantime, this has been Caffeinate for your career for today. Have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.